We're going to do that. And the tech is set. And okay, just a couple minutes. We'll give Facebook a minute or two to get everybody here. Look at these gorgeous faces we have. I feel like I'm like, what's her name from Saturday Night Live? Perplexed. I just love all of these. I said earlier, and I got made fun of, this just makes my little heart sing, seeing all these reps on here, which means one absolutely great thing. It's fall.
Yeah.
And there's lots of good books coming out. So get your pens and pencils ready, because we are in for a lot of really good releases. So I'm going to talk about just a minute here before I get to the reps, just a couple books that, in light of the day, it's 9/11 today, and in remembrance of that, there are a couple of outstanding books that I always watch some documentary the day before, and it's one of the the fire department in New York City. She said, I hope we don't turn into a page in a history book that gets turned and forgotten. And so in light of that, couple books that I think that are must reads if you haven't already read them. I think I talked about this years ago on Facebook. I could say years ago on Tea Time now, because it's been years since we've been doing this. But Shannon, I think it's your book. It's called Only Plane in the Sky. And it is a fantastic account of moment by moment what was happening. And if you could do the audio is just, it's tremendous because it's people's voices that are telling their stories. But at one point, the only plane in the sky was Air Force One heading east. And it's just a really, it just captures that whole day. Another one that I think is done really well is, it's actually, I think, technically a young adult book called Usual Rules. And it's by, and I'm assuming, Amanda, I haven't gone over to Facebook, but I'm assuming Amanda's putting these into the Facebook chat, by Joyce Maynard. And this is told from the perspective of a young boy. It's years ago that I read this, but I believe it was a young boy whose parents don't come back. And it's told through his stories and what happens and how he finds out. And it's just, it's fantastic. So a couple recommendations for 9/11. We're in for some great reads. I can tell already, because I think I've read some of them that you're going to be talking about today. So it's going to go Steve Wade, Shannon Gabe, Julia, Tom. Boy, I'm going to have to look at names. I have to remember everybody today. All right, Steve, why don't you take it away for us?
All right, thanks, Julie. Hi, everybody. I'm going to kick things off with a book that comes out next week, so a week from tomorrow. And it's the second novel from Nathan Hill.
Oh,
and I don't know if many, I hope some of you remember The Knicks, which he wrote, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago. And that was a great, wonderful book. A lot of history in that. It went back to the 60s and protests in Chicago. And it won the Art Seidenbaum Award for First Fiction at the LA Times book prizes. So the new book, no, it's again, he writes a novel. He's in that school of writers writing the great American novel. I mean, he's at the top, among the top writers in that, who give you a great American story, modern. And this is it's got a lot of heart. It's very witty. It's a satire in many ways about marriage and some of the baffling things people do to get health and happiness. And it starts in Chicago in the 90s. It's in the art scene is where it begins. And the main characters in this novel are Jack and Elizabeth. And really, this book is a love story. That's what it really is. And it's all the things this couple does to save their marriage. But at the beginning, it's pretty darn good. And it's in the 90s, and they're living in apartment buildings that are across from each other, so they can see in each other's windows. And they both kind of develop crushes on each other silently, and they don't know anything about each other until they finally meet in a club, in a music club. So, and then they've really just hit it off. It's a great romance that starts. And then we cut after that first section of the book, we cut to the present time, and they have a child, and they're living in what has become more of a suburbia, part of Chicago, and they are having trouble in their marriage, and it's all the kind of crazy things that they do, like I said, to save the marriage. I mean, it's mindfulness groups, it's polyamorous suitors, it's face swap wars, it's love potions, everything like that. And I'm going to let Anthony Mara finish my summation for me. Wellness is one of the funniest, saddest, smartest novels I've ever read. In this portrait of one foundering marriage, Nathan Hill has encapsulated the pathologies and possibilities of our troubled era. With his razor-sharp satire and heartbreaking pathos, his stylistic virtuosity and human warmth, Hill has written both a propulsive page-turner and an artistic achievement of the highest order. So Anthony Mara said it much better than me, but it's a great read. He's a fun writer, Nathan Hill. He has fun. You can tell he has fun writing, and it's just a really enjoyable read. So
Excellent.
that's Wellness from Nathan Hill, out
Nathan Hill.
next week.
Next week. Okay. So something to look forward to, because I have a feeling everybody's shopping carts are going to get too full this week with what's happening tomorrow. So something to put in for next week.
Yeah, yes.
Love it. Okay, Wade, what do you have for us?
All right. So I want to give all of our fans out there in Zoom land a warning. And it's just a joke, guys. There's no real triggers or anything. But if you're hungry at all, I'm going to ruin your day. Here we go. Pie is Messy. This just came out. It's from the creators of the Pie Hole restaurant, if anyone's been there in downtown LA. And they have several other locations now. And also, if you have a Whole Foods near you, they may have an outlet in your Whole Foods. So anyway, Pie is Messy. And I'll give you one guess about what it's about. No, Julie.
It's not lipstick?
Sandwiches.
It's not lipstick?
Not sandwiches.
It's not lipstick?
No. I'm sorry. Well, if you eat enough of it, it might be blueberry. Anyway, so I digress. But anyway, it's a local cookbook author, which, we're very lucky to publish a number of those per year. And the famous recipe is finally available. This is tough. Earl Grey pie. And Gabe, I will have you know, Deborah does have a copy of this book. So
we've checked it out already.
Yeah. So she has no excuse not to pie it up at home. Anyway, so here you go. Pie is Messy, fantastic book. And if you don't like sweets, I'm not always a sweets person. There are also savory recipes. Like there's a really interesting corn custard that you mix the corn and the cream, you put it all in a blender and then make your custard from that. There's some great stuff in here, and like a few old classics, and the design's really cool. Every person I've showed this to has been like, what did you do to that book? And I didn't do anything. It's made to look cozy and used, and
messy.
It's pure comfort, and it is messy.
And it's supposed to look messy.
Who doesn't like pie?
I know, right? My biggest thing is the crust. It's got to be a good crust.
And my friend who's a baker was going through it and looking at the crust, and she's like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, because that's the make or break for me, because I'll eat anything inside a pie, but that's the crust.
Does any of the vodka actually make it into your pie crust, Julie?
No, and it's gin.
And
it's not vodka, it's gin. Tanqueray specifically, so just saying.
You have Julie's Pies here. It was probably your cooking kitchen secret in general, right?
As you see, nobody even close to where I'm at. Okay, Shannon, rescue me from Wade.
Okay. I don't have any of the books I'm talking about today on hand, so I'm going to do my best to show you. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to get this at all. It's The Witching Tide. It's by Meyer. Julie might have one. I sent one to her.
Let me go get it. I'll be right back.
And it's it's so good. It's right up Julie's alley, which is why I just sent her a copy. It is told from the perspective of a mute midwife in 17th century England, and it's about the witch hunts. And she is living life. She is like a household servant. Her master is she actually raised him as a boy, so she's like quite comfortable in her like surroundings and her community. Oh, there it is. It's such a pretty cover.
Such a good cover.
Yeah, and then this man who has been going town to town, his name is Silas, you know, seeking out witches and doing trials, comes to town, and she, because she's a midwife, is tasked with reporting, you know, strange markings or anything that could condemn a woman to this horrific fate. But it is just, it's all told with like in her head, really. And the writing is so, even though it's set in 17th century England, like her writing is so spare and kind of direct that it has like a very modern feel. And it's just like, once I started, I could not put it down. It is so, so good. It's like the best historical fiction. I think for fans of like Maggie O'Farrell, I got like it's an older title, but like Geraldine Brooks' Year of Wonder vibes from it, which is something that I loved. So definitely, I mean, there's so many big books coming out, but this is like just one of those like great literary fiction, historical fiction ones that especially, I feel like there's so much interest in the witch hunts, and it was like right up my alley. I loved every second of it, and it like enraged me as well while I was reading it.
Right. I can't get enough. I think I talked about this very briefly last week. I hadn't started reading it yet, and I still haven't started reading it. I gotta
It's okay.
But can't wait. Right up my
So
so up my alley. I can't wait.
So good.
Yay. Okay, Gabe. Screen share should be on for you, my friend.
Screen share is on. So I'm presenting God Killer today. Goes on sale tomorrow by Hannah Kaner.
Okay, great cover first. Can I just say that?
That's a monster cover, and it's a paperback original. I'm like,
Ooh.
why would we do a paperback original of a book? And honestly, the reception has been monster. The people who've read it, who are like big fantasy readers, are like, I mean, I had somebody just send me 60. You know, how many in a carton? I got some really good numbers out on this one because people just love the read. It's been a big hit in the UK. It is a story of a place and a land where gods have been outlawed. There's been this major war and battles and war, and the whole culture of the society has been turned upside down. And the latest king has decided that there will be no more gods, and actually pays people to kill any gods that may think about rising up from the shadows. So as a child, Kissen saw her family murdered by a sun god. So now that she is full grown, that's what she does. She hunts these gods. But as the story opens, she becomes in the world of gods, and gods that are so fickle, and the world of fantasy, she becomes encumbered by a little young girl being bonded to her that she becomes responsible for. And the little girl is under the power of a certain god, but if she kills the god killer kills the god, the little girl will be killed. So she's got to figure out how to take care of business. So it's a quest novel. It's an adventure. It's a fantasy adventure. This is a book, I think, again, a crossover audience. I think people who like a really rollicking adventure are going to go. It's a page turner of a novel. It's a quest novel. She's joined by a disillusioned knight who's on a secret quest. We don't know what it is. And together, this group travels around being pursued by assassins and demons and monsters, vengeful gods, and trying to put it all together. So I think we got a great value. The next book will be coming in like late March.
Ooh,
So
good.
we're expecting big things, and we're ready to go with the next one.
Big, thick, fat one.
It's a good size. It's not a huge average, 300.
Okay.
It's a lot. It feels like a lot though.
Yeah.
It's a 300-page book.
Great. Like I said, a great package. Is this the first thing that this person's written?
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Looks really good. All right. Let's see. We got Julia next.
Yeah, I might have frozen, but
Okay, no, you're here with us.
but hopefully you can hear me.
I can.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so my first pick is No Crying in Baseball, which I feel like I've been promising for weeks now.
There it is.
And, the inside story of League of Their Own. Again, I will argue with anyone, the best sports movie ever made. This is like, I'm actually not usually one for like a Hollywood history of like how things got made. I kind of like, I don't think those stories are usually all that interesting, but this one's fascinating just because of, if you like movies and TV, like there's so much history that like brought this group of people together. And, you know, it starts with Penny Marshall and Tom Hanks both filming on the Paramount lot. Penny Marshall was filming Laverne and Shirley, and Tom Hanks was filming Bosom Buddies across the lot from each other. And then, you know, she directs Tom Hanks in Big, which is the first movie directed by a woman to ever make $100 million. And then by the time A League of Their Own comes around, Tom Hanks's career is not, it's like pre-Philadelphia, it's pre-Forrest Gump, like it's kind of not doing much. And there was a lot of skepticism of whether or not he could play the character he plays. And then she gets Gina Davis, you know, right off of the heels of Thelma and Louise. That was the car driving.
That was the car.
And
We all know that.
yeah. And then Madonna, like straight off of the Blonde Ambition tour, at her hottest. So you just have this great story of how all these people came together to make this movie, including all the women from the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, and how this story sort of came to Hollywood and how it got told. You know, it's a great book. It's a great movie. There's a great TV show also based on this. Yeah, it's just really fun.
Yep, and it is just for everybody and for gifts, and yeah, just buy it, put it into people's stockings.
And when baseball season ends and you are like, I need some baseball something, then you can just read this and be like, yeah, okay, yeah.
There you go. All right, Tom.
All right, I have a different kind of history for you, and this is, all right, I'll just say it, my favorite book of the year, and that's
Ooh.
Lauren Groff's The Vaster Wilds.
Okay.
On sale tomorrow, #1 indie next pick for the month. And I've just been waiting and waiting, you know, since I first read it in probably March or April, dying to talk about it. So Matrix was the last novel. That was, I think, just 2 years ago. So another historical novel. So that was 12th century England, in France. And the new book is American history. She is really looking at different histories at different times through these singular characters. And in this book, it's 1610, about a young woman who has escaped from Jamestown and the starving times. So that was, you know, she's on her own. So it's almost like there are no other characters really, except in her mind and her memory as she tells her story and how she got to be in this place. So she is set off from Jamestown by herself to forge a new life, and you start to see what unraveled in Jamestown, what happened, and it is just by slowly but surely it takes on more gravity, more power with each page. And so she's telling the story of America also, like through this hinge moment in history that I knew very little about. I mean, I know basics about Jamestown, but not in any depth. And that's what I think about Lauren Groff is she knows the search. It started with her reading histories of women whose stories were told, but they were not the woman's stories. They were shaped and they were created by the society around them, around that story and around that woman. And she knows those histories. She knows those true narratives, you know, backwards and forwards. And that's what's incredible about the book is like, but she doesn't show it off in the book. Like you just know, you can tell every word, every sentence. She knows this history better than anybody.
Right.
But it comes through in the character, it comes through in her story, and you feel for her at every moment. It reminded me of, there are moments like, well, And other people have mentioned, like, in a way, it feels a little bit like The Road, because
Mm.
here you are, of this person on their own in this environment where it's getting colder and colder. Winter is coming. How will she survive? It's an incredible achievement. The reviews just started to run. So the New York Times, I love it's almost all great reviews, but the New York Times says, I know a few other writers whose sentences are so beautiful and so propulsive. Sentence after sentence, Groff creates luminous, barely rendered images, the historical setting allowing her to play with cadence and grammar. The landscape sparkles. Speaking of cadence and grammar, according to the interview she just did in the New York Times, and I think that her editor told us this, she also wrote a version of this book in iambic pentameter just for herself, just to.
She had the time.
Her writing process is unreal. She writes these books, not just this one, but all of them. She writes them longhand, and then she puts them in a box, and then starts all over and does it again. Like, not looking at the original, like, she is living and breathing these books, and it comes through in the text.
Wow.
I look, and this is also like, so it's the #1 indie next pick. So booksellers have been freaking out about this book. I look back on, like, and the reps, that this is also something that is notable, I think. Reps, the Penguin reps, as we read it, we were emailing each other like, can you believe this? And people like, this passage and this passage and this passage. And honestly, that doesn't happen very often, where we're truly swapping, reactions moment by moment. And I look to what, like, the words I used, like right after finishing it, were brave, devastating, beautiful. So I stand by those words now. So this is going to be on all of the lists this fall.
Yep.
Lauren Groff's The Vaster Wilds.
Yep, it's going to be a big one, because nothing but praise that I've seen everywhere about it.
Well, the other thing that's really struck me, I'm sorry to go on, but I have to. I love Lauren Groff. I know. I love Lauren Groff. I've always loved Lauren Groff. I love Fates and Furies. I love Matrix, but I love them on an intellectual level. This was the first of her books that emotionally hit me hard.
Oh, okay.
And so it hit me in both ways, intellectually and emotionally. Like, it knocked me at the very end. So
Awesome.
highly recommend.
Yep. Awesome. Another good Lauren Groff. I love her. I mean, I love her books, but I love her too. She is just awesome. Okay, I got to get to some of the comments and I'll get to them quickly. I got to get to some of the comments that are coming in, because there's some good ones. So Gabe is, I'm going to mispronounce this person's name, is Etaf Rooms, Evil Eye Yours.
Yes.
Arlene wants to know. She says, it's so masterful about the writing experience of women that are Palestinian Americans. She loved A Woman Is No More, and she's uncomfortably enjoying this one too, is how she puts it.
She's a terrific writer. It came out last week, and I was going to talk about it last week, and then I had a bunch of books this week, so I've just been slammed. But she got really great reviews for A Woman Is No Man, which was brutal telling. So thank you for reading. She's a terrific author. I'll have to slip her in maybe next week.
Yeah, there you go. Talk about that one next week. And then Steve, Beth saying she read Monsters, A Fan's Dilemma. That's yours, right?
Yeah, that's mine. That's Claire Dieter.
Yeah, she says it's such a powerful read. It's a tough read, but she's glad that she's read it. And then just one more quick one. Oh, Gabe. Beth also bought 2 copies of Dinosaur Therapy. Had to give them both away and ordered 4 more for the holidays. So.
That's the way it is. They're addicted. Thanks, Beth.
That's one that I for sure need to get on my list too, because that one just sounded amazing. I forgot to write that
one series down. It's awful cute without being too close. So
right. So that's what I got to do. All right, round 2, Steve.
Okay, well, it's kind of hard to follow up Tom's endorsement.
That's why I tried to give you a little interlude,
Groff, but I'm gonna, But I've got another really great historical novel. We've had a few of those already, and this is from Jane Ann Phillips. It comes out tomorrow.
Oh.
It's called Night Watch. And you might not be that familiar with her, a lot of readers, but she's been a finalist for the National Book Award and the National Book Critics Award. So she's really well respected, well reviewed. And I love this book. It's a Civil War story. And I'm going to describe it as Emma Donohue's Room meets Cold Mountain.
Oh.
Okay? Okay,
Okay.
so it's a small family. It's West Virginia, and West Virginia is split. Union and rebels are both uh, fighting and participating in the war on different sides from West Virginia, and it's a family, a man, woman, little girl. He goes off to fight in the war, and he gets injured, and it's a traumatic, really traumatic brain injury. He has amnesia. In every other way he comes back to being his normal self, but he has no memory of any of his past. Meanwhile, the mother and daughter, they're living in like a little cabin by themselves. There's a friend, a neighbor, she helps them. And this rogue deserter from the rebel side imprisons them basically for a long period, imprisons, this is the room part, imprisons, and there's abuse, and this part's not so nice. But afterwards, for some reason, he takes them, when the girl is 12. It's a long time, that he's done this. He comes and goes, but he always comes back. The mother is like, she's practically catatonic at the time. And this rebel guy, he drops him off at this insane, basically a mental health asylum, state of the art, I should say, for the time. And he drops him off there, and meanwhile, there's a night watchman working there who turns out to be the father. This is not really giving big plot points away, but and then it all comes together with the rebel guy comes back. It's just a really well-paced, great character development, great plot, and I really enjoyed it. So it's Jane Ann Phillips, Night Watch, out tomorrow.
We actually are working on getting her for an event because Beth, who does our social media, has a connection to her somehow, some way. I can't remember what.
Oh,
Beth,
that's right. I think her son is marrying the daughter, or the daughter the son, or something.
Yes, there's some big connection going on there. So we're working to
forgot,
get
yeah.
Jane out here probably in November. So I can't wait.
Yeah. Oh,
So that'll
be
be really fun. So if you're not doing anything, Steve, come on down.
Yeah, if I'm not, I will.
Okay, there you go. All right, I
Yeah.
lost track of who's next. So I think it was Wade. Okay, Wade, go. Because when you guys turn off your screens, you show up somewhere different on my screen. So it's like, oh, Men in Black's coming to us.
There's a theme, Julie.
Oh God.
So I would like to actually, speaking of fabulous Warwick's events, you can see why I'm in my beach attire. Not really.
Yeah.
Sunglasses, California Golden
Oh,
by
yay.
Melanie Benjamin. She's actually at the store this week.
Yep.
Do you want to Wednesday night? Correct?
Wednesday night, she'll be at the store. We're doing a luncheon with her, and she is absolutely delightful. So if you're anywhere near us, come by on Wednesday night. She's a charm.
This book just came out. You may be familiar with her name. She's had several bestsellers. The Aviator's Wife, Swans of Fifth Avenue. I mean, the list goes on and on. The autobiography of Mrs. Tom Thumb. There's so much. And this book is something completely different for her. It's set in the 1960s in Los Angeles, and it's all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll in LA, particularly in Malibu. And whenever I say that, I mean, the first comparison everybody immediately wants to jump to is Taylor Jenkins Reid, right? And sure, I'd love everyone who likes her to buy this book, but it's something very different. This is a much different cast of characters, much grittier. And I mean, look at that cover. It's just gorgeous. It's perfect for this weather we're having too.
Yep.
She's fantastic at book groups. And if you do make it to the Warwick's event, you will not regret it, because Melanie puts a lot of time into her slideshows and her presentations and her questions and all the background. She does tons of research for her books. So whatever she'll have prepared, I'm sure is fantastic.
Yep.
Anyway, again, Melanie Benjamin, California Golden.
Yep.
Out now in hardcover. Great for your book group.
Great book group. And she'll zoom into book groups and stuff. She's just incredible. and her energy is just infectious. So she's just a fun one to
A lovely
to
person.
come out and see. So can't promote her enough either. Okay, we going, Shannon?
I think so, yeah.
I think so too.
All right, we'll try the phone. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. So this is The River We Remember by William Kent Kruger. He is, I will say, an indie darling. People, bookstores just love him because he just tours and tours and tours. But you might know him from This Tender Land, which was a bestseller, and Ordinary Grace. I mean, he's most well known for his Cork O'Connor mysteries, but I am like partial to his standalones, and this is another standalone. I'm going to keep running with the historical fiction. It's set in like 1958, Jewel, Minnesota. And what I think he really does, even though like these are mysteries, like he really just captures like these moments in time in these small towns. But it starts out in this small town, Jules, annual Memorial Day parade, and the whole town is out. And in the meantime, the body of one of its most powerful citizens is found dead in the river. And so it's kind of this sprawling story of the town sheriff who is, you know, not only investigating the murder, but really like managing the expectation, or not expectations, but the reactions of all of the citizens who are getting in the way. But he just paints this portrait of a time, and his characters are so like beautifully rendered and like told from multiple perspectives, and it's really page turning. And I feel like with him, I've loved all of his standalones, but he's the kind of writer that you can give, like I can give it to my dad and my mom, which like they don't really hardly ever cross over. You know, like he's like Stephen King, and she's like you know, like women's fiction. So, you know, like, but like he fits just like everybody who reads him loves him. So, and he's always, I think this is September Indie Next as well. But yeah, and page turning, but also just this like slice of Americana set right after World War II. And I love him, and he is such a friend to indies. He tours like nonstop and will do anything that anybody asks him to do.
Arlene's on here. She says The River We Remember, 5 stars. She gives it. She read an arc months ago and loved it. And
Yay!
William Kent Kruger is another great storyteller. So yep,
He is.
yep, awesome. Okay, Gabe.
You guys want historical fiction? Or whether you don't, you're gonna get it, I guess.
Oh, here's Paul. She's coming to the symposium in February, which is
I
gonna be
had
great.
not, oh, good.
Yeah.
That's down the road.
Yep.
So Paula Giles, who has, you know, has written quite a few books, and started off strong with her very first novel, and then got a little experimental, and then wrote News of the World and kind of hit her stride, and then followed it up in May 2020 with Simon the Fiddler, which kind of lost. It still did really, really well as everybody was closing their doors for the pandemic. But the book still held its own and sold a lot of copies, got great reviews. And now she brings you Cheneyville. And it is a story very similar to what she's been doing in the past. It's set in Texas. This is pretty much Reconstruction South. It is a Union soldier, John Shenville, who's had a traumatic head injury at the end of the war. When he finally gets healed, gets himself healed and together again, the war's over, and he heads home. And when he gets home, he finds that his sister and her family have been murdered. And I just saw an Alan Ladd movie like this the other day. Where the soldier comes home and the homestead is wiped out, and it's a revenge novel. John knows exactly who did it and goes on the hunt for the man known as A.J. Dodd, who is little more than a rabid animal, killing senselessly. And he was a soldier. He's now a lawman, but he's a bad lawman. Texas has a lot of them. So she points a lot of fingers at a lot of issues, one of them being Texas was quite a place, out of control back in the middle of the 1800s. It is the justice system. John is determined to get justice. He's almost pursued by a U.S. Marshal who has told him, if you do murder this man, it's going to be murder, and I'm going to hold you accountable. And he still thinks he can get away with it. He's got that privilege, he thinks. And then there's a love interest as well. So very, Paulette doesn't write humongous books anymore. They're really, really tight. She's got a formula. This is a solid 320 pages, which is a little bigger than she's done in the past. But it's a book you're going to get lost in. I think the character is really strong. The reviews have been really, really positive. Library Journal gave it a starred review. The book list gave it a starred review. Everybody's looking at it, talking about Paulette Giles' latest novel. So we're very excited. Great package. It'll look nice on your shelf.
Yep.
And she's a comforting read. You know what you're getting.
I was just gonna say, yep, you know what you're getting. You're getting a good solid read anytime you pick her up. So,
and she's got a punch. She
Yep.
she doesn't hold back.
Doesn't hold back.
It's a good book. I mean, audience. She's one of those people, men, women, read her equally the same.
Yep.
She's one of those characters who, even though she's been writing about mostly men, primarily, there's always a woman character with some substance that she she filters things through.
Yep. No, she's good. She's solid. So yeah, I can't wait. Writer Symposium she's coming down for in February. So that's going to be a really interesting night. So
She doesn't like to travel. I'm glad she got out.
I know. Well, this is one of those special things though. This isn't really a tour thing.
Still, I mean, like getting on a plane and stuff.
Yeah. So we're excited that she's coming for that. Okay, Julia, book 2.
Okay, I have this really cool book from Little Brown Young Readers that is called Chinese Menu by Grace Lin. And it's technically it's a kid's book or a young adult book. It's pretty wordy, so I would say it's not for little kids. But I think it's like kind of for adults too. And it is the history, myths, and legends behind all of food on a Chinese menu.
Oh.
So I know it got a starred review in Publishers Weekly. It got a starred review in Kirkus. It got a starred review in School Library Journal. It got a starred review in Book List. And Grace Lin has won the Newbery and the Caldecott Award. So she is a beloved children's author. But this one I think is like really near and dear to her and really explores like the Chinese menu, explores, some of the histories behind it. So it talks about like when certain things were served or why they were served in like, in the Forbidden Palace or in different parts of Chinese history. And then also, Chinese food sort of coming to the United States and how it changed and how these different dishes changed as they came to the US and, became Chinese American restaurants. So there's all sorts of different kinds of stories. I think it's just a really lovely book. It came yesterday to my apartment and I had only seen a galley and I kind of like maybe screamed a little bit at how pretty it is. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous book. And just beautiful illustrations throughout. So one that I think is really great for for reading with kids, but also, like I said, I think adults could enjoy it too.
Yeah. And Deborah is on here, Gabe, with us. Gabe's wife, Deborah, who works for Diesel, who does one of these similar kind of things. She says, Julia, she loves this book. She loves it.
Okay.
It's so good.
I'm glad to hear that.
Should she be making cake or something? What's she doing?
She should be making pie or something, right? Shouldn't she be making pie?
What goes on while I'm working?
What's happening here? So Arlene is asking me what publishing house you work for, Steve. Steve and Tom and Wade are all part of Penguin Random House. And they split between Tom is with the Penguin side. Steve and Wade split the Random House side, which Steve has got Knopf, Doubleday, Vintage. Wade has Crown, Hogarth, Little Random, lots of other things. So kind of hard, but mainly Knopf Doubleday is what you typically are talking about on here, is what Steve typically talks about. If that helps at all. So with that little interlude, Tom.
All right, let's
book 2.
turn back to Penguin.
Let's go back to Penguin.
Arthur Brooks is a Harvard professor and also a columnist for The Atlantic, does a podcast all about happiness. This is what he teaches at Harvard. It's what he writes about. It's what he podcasts about. His first book was called From Strength to Strength, which was subtitle gives you an idea, Finding Success, Happiness, and Deep Purpose in the Second Half of Life. This was a bestseller, and it just kept selling and selling and selling, a lot of word of mouth. One of the people that the book got to, or the column got to, or the podcast got to was Oprah Winfrey. And she said, when Oprah Winfrey discovers a person, and I think I saw her say this in the interview, she's like, I would, if I had my show, he would be on my show all the time, but I don't have the show anymore. So she got together with him and wrote a book called Build the Life You Want, which is out tomorrow. And again, it's the subtitle is The Art and Science of Getting Happier. So, you know, they're looking at the he has like 3 things we're looking for when we're trying to find what we, you know, however we want to define happiness. It's enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. But there are complexities around each of those things. And so it's very much a tools you can use to change your life, to find the thing that we're all searching for always. And translate the ideas of the book into action. It's very prescriptive in that way, as you'd expect with Oprah. She wants you to have results. She wants results, and she wants you to have results. So she came to him and said, let's do a book together. They came to Portfolio, which is part of Penguin, and said, I think Arthur Brooks came and said, Oprah wants to do a book with me. So it's not long. It's very digestible. It's everything you'd want a book like this to be. Everything I want this book to be.
Right.
They did a great interview. It kicked off yesterday on CBS Sunday Morning, which is a great place to reach readers of books. Today, we got a huge number of pre-orders. It's out tomorrow, but like this is going to be a major fall bestseller. I don't know why I'm surprised. It's Oprah Winfrey. I've never published part of a book that Oprah Winfrey publishes. So it shouldn't surprise me, but this is for a lot of people. It's kind of for everyone. So Build the Life You Want, out tomorrow.
Have some fun then. I can't believe, Tom, that you haven't ever been part of
I
an
know.
Oprah book. This is
I've had Oprah books,
right, but not
like,
something from her.
yeah.
Not something from her.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun.
Fun, nice, fun, wild ride. And that's gonna be another one of those books. Buy it for a hostess gift. Put it in, that's one of those.
Right.
You could
And
just
I
give
would
to
say
anybody.
I kind of have the feeling we're gonna be chasing it still. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if that for a fact, but it seems like that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah. And I meant to say earlier, and I can't believe I didn't say it earlier before we get into the last round, is the only one we're missing is Andrea. Then we would have had a complete full,
Yes.
but we miss Andrea. So Andrea, I don't know if she ever rewatches this, but if she does, we're thinking of you and wish you were here with us too. Make it a fun
Do we
day.
call that a royal flush if we're all here?
I think so. And then I just will do a mic drop and we'll never see you again. That'll be my crowning glory. All right, lightning round. Steve, take us away.
Okay, I'll try to make this true lightning
We're
speed.
doing okay. We're up 45 minutes in, so we're good.
Okay, well, we've got James Ellroy's latest book, The Enchanters. He's coming to Warwick's. I think the 15th.
No,
is,
Friday. This Friday.
Friday. Okay,
Yeah.
so this
Well, that might
Friday,
be the 15th. You're right.
is that
What day is it? What month is it? It is the 15th. Yes.
okay?
So
So
Friday.
You're
Yep.
both right.
Friday the 15th, he'll be there.
We're actually we're
what-
taking him down to Coronado, so don't come to the store if you're watching.
Oh,
this.
I'm sorry.
But that's okay. But
great.
he's coming. But we're sponsoring it. So
And if you've never gone to a James Ellroy event, I encourage you. You never know what he's going to say. He is a hoot and a half.
You must go because you have to experience Elroy in person.
Yeah.
oh my!
he's-
Wait a minute. What am I getting myself into here?
It's gonna be a blast. Julie.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
I can take it a couple different ways here.
He's fun.
No, all
I-
good. All
I
He's
had
fun, right?
dinner-
Yeah, he's fun.
I did a bookseller dinner with him once, and he's a character.
Okay, good.
Oh,
I can't wait. Then.
absolutely.
You'll have a
So the-
story to tell after that.
So the new book is The Enchanters. It's about, it takes place in the early 60s around the death of Marilyn. There's a starlet who's kidnapped at the same time. You got the Kennedys involved. You got Elroy's, one of his favorite characters, Freddie O'Tash, who's investigating on in part for Chief Parker. So it's all the great Elroy elements that we've seen through the years, from the LA Quartet to Perfidia. He's just a great writer. He's gritty, of course. If you haven't read him before, you're in for something. And anyway, I'll stop there. You've got The Enchanters coming out
tomorrow, and we will be gracing San Diego on Friday. I love his author photo. He's got one of the best author photos out there. So if you don't, go look at our website. It's
He's a
fantastic.
true original.
Yeah,
He
love
says.
it. All right, can't wait. I'll report back on Monday. If hopefully I'll survive. Okay, Wade, lightning round.
But Julie,
Yes.
I mean, we're putting the lightning off a second. Are his author photos as good as Danielle Steele's author photos?
Oh, I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to research this very
I'm gonna say
carefully.
yes.
Okay, so I will do this quickly, I promise. I only have the advanced reader copy, even though the book is out now, because I gave away my finished copy to someone the other day. Dreambound by Dan Frey. This is a fantasy writer who lives in Los Angeles. Look how gorgeous that is. And again, I wish I had the finished book to show you. It's a paperback original, which is a little unusual for this type of book. It's absolutely beautiful. Anyway, it's the story of I would say it's very similar to Neil Gaiman's Neverwhere.
Oh God, my favorite book. Seriously?
Is it? No way.
I love that book. So
Well,
this is like
so-
that. Well, then give me a copy, damn it.
You can have this one. Here, catch, Julie.
Put it in the mail right now. Okay, I got it.
Okay, good. That worked. The magic of television.
Magic of television.
I have a little too much fun sometimes. Anyway, so it's this 12-year-old girl. Well, now I have to pick it up. It's this 12-year-old girl, and she's
Oh,
obsessed.
see,
with this-
okay, wait a
Thank
minute now.
you. Does everyone? Amanda has one too. I know.
what's
Deborah,
happening
Deborah
here?
picked it up at the bookstore.
Oh,
She
because
just
I
ran
told her
over
to
and-
read
she
it.
just ran
That's
up the
right.
stairs
I
and
sent
brought
her
it.
one.
I'm sorry, I
That's
think
all
we're
right.
losing Wade. I think we're losing
Sorry.
him. I can't
If
see.
we,
I
if
can't
we
hear
had
him.
planned, if we planned this better, we all would be holding it up, except for Julie.
Except for Julie.
Um,
I'm gonna turn Wade's mute. I'm gonna mute him right now.
Wade, we're having connection
We're
issues.
having connection issues. Wade
Going
needs
in
to
a tunnel.
go now.
Going in a
Really?
canyon, Wade.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. finish.
Anyway,
sorry.
sorry.
12-year-old
12-year-old girl.
Oh, see, look, Amanda's got it.
There we go.
I
So
could
the
I could
12-year-old
cuss
girl-
so bad right now, but I won't. Okay, I will.
So this 12-year-old girl, she's obsessed with this fantasy book series, right? That's all set in Los Angeles. So she disappears from home one day and goes to seek out these magical places. Turns out they may actually exist, but the truth may be kind of dark. If you like The Magicians, Neil Gaiman, and I will say it's not a traditional novel in that it's epistolary, although those can be traditional, I suppose. So it's written in letters, emails, social media posts. So it's a real fast read too, and it's really fun. And, you know, it's so fun when you read a fantasy book set in LA, because it's like, oh, I really might need to go by the tar pits and just check it out once again, just in case. Anyway, so there you go, Dreambound by Dan Frey.
Okay, I will expect. Let's see, it's Monday, Friday. I will expect one in my mail. Wade. Okay, Shannon.
Okay, I'm gonna cheer you up because tomorrow Mona's book goes on sale. I'm so excited. Finally, I feel like Julie and I have been waiting for this day for a really long time.
Yep.
I don't have a copy. I'm not going to try to show you my phone or iPad because that's not working. But it's the most beautiful package. I cannot wait to see a finished copy. It is Rouge, and you guys know Mona from Bunny and All's Well, and I don't know, I feel like masterpiece. I know Julie and I have probably both talked about it. Is that true?
I think we have.
It's, you know, Julie put it, she summed it up. I can't remember your exact words, but you were like a fever pitch dream. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how you feel. Like I was mesmerized. I mean, you're hearing it described as like gothic fairy tale tinged with horror. It's set partially in La Jolla,
Yep.
where I think Mona spent a lot of time writing it. which I think, oh, look at that. You guys are fancy. Look at that pretty cover.
Isn't that cover
Um,
great? It's
yeah,
so good.
I know, and I don't even want to tell you guys too much, but it's like, it's a book about grief, about mother-daughter relationships. It's also like a scathing look at the beauty industry and what it's doing to all of us. It's just kind of everything, and I am obsessed, and it goes on sale tomorrow. And you can meet Mona in person, right, on the 20th?
Yep, on the 20th, she'll be here. I was just gonna say, and I'll probably talk about this next week because it's right in the thing, but I mean, she's just
So good. She's
brilliant.
genius, yeah.
She's genius. This is so good. I mean, you will laugh. It takes you into just these, it just does so many different things to your brain. Your brain's just like a scrambled egg after a while. It's just like, oh my God, what am I reading? This is so good.
Shannon, you have my mailing address, right?
Oh, yeah, I will.
Just want to check. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As soon as Julie gets her book, you'll get a copy.
Yeah, oh, I love it. We're holding hostage here.
I'm
So
teasing.
good. So good, Shannon. Got my back always.
So good.
Yeah, Lori, we saw, Lori's comment. She saw Rouge in a store yesterday too. Yeah. So it's out tomorrow though, is the official release date. But if you are anywhere near San Diego next Wednesday or whatever, or wherever she's going to be on tour, go and see her. It's going to be a great conversation. She is just,
I'm gonna try to be there. I don't know. I'll
but
give
if,
it my best.
but
Yeah.
anybody that's even remotely around here or wherever you see her on tour, go see her. She's brilliant. Absolutely love her. So can't wait. This one's I think everybody's gonna, and because Bunny, I think, is turning into a show, I believe. But because of the writers thing, it kind of delayed it, which is one of her books, but
I'm
she's
almost
genius.
afraid to see a show based on Bunny, but I would watch.
I
Yeah.
would so watch. Oh my God. I'd be like, how are they gonna do this? Okay, Gabe.
I'm back.
Gabe's
Where am
back.
I? Sorry, I went off. I
Didn't
went off
bore you, Gabe.
went off full screen for a second. So I'm going to share. Oh, that's what Deborah made the other day. Complaining about
Ooh,
pie, I got cake.
yum. She laughed on the comment though when we were talking about her when she said, "Oh, should you be baking some?" She's like, "No,
Really?
really."
A little discord and the home front here. You guys
I
are getting
like it.
exposure.
Oh, like it.
So my last book, I think this is great for Lightning Round: Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie in a graphic novel with the arts by Bob L. Green. And I think, I'm a book person, and books are, I don't think everything that's a book should be a graphic novel. I think there's a lot of great graphic novels out there, fiction and graphic nonfiction. That's some really wonderful stuff out there. But I remember we did Allen Ginsberg's Howl in a graphic novel. Really quite a provocative piece to look at and great thing to have. I gave away a lot of those. Had a lot of requests for that book. It was very cool. So this is another way of experiencing the Agatha Christie Orient Express. I don't have any inners because Edelweiss doesn't copy very well. But it's a fun way, good introduction. If you want to read something kind of quick and get back in touch with a sense of the book. It's pretty well done. So that's all I got for you this week.
All right. Good
Until
ladies.
tomorrow.
That might be the first time that Agatha Christie and Allen Ginsberg have been mentioned in the
Linked.
Same
same
sentence.
sentence.
Creating history here. All right, Julia.
Harper Authors.
There you go.
Okay, so mine is a gifty title. It is The Big Book of Basketball Fashion, Fly, The Big Book of Basketball Fashion. It is by Mitchell S. Jackson, who is a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer.
Okay.
And this is so much fun. It's Gabe's favorite book that I've ever presented. It is so much fun. It's got all these different like photographs of the different basketball players' fashion, and it goes way back to the 60s. There's a great photo of Magic Johnson in this fur coat in the 70s that's like to die for. It's so good. So
Worth the price of the whole book, right?
definitely. It goes decade by decade. So it goes into Dennis Rodman and his, he always had crazy hair and always was wearing totally like out there stuff, but was really fun. And just looks at basically the fashion of basketball players, them showing up to the court, them, out on the town, stuff like that. I think a really fun gifty book for, you're the basketball fan in your life. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit, different than other books that are about basketball. And so I think really fun.
I love it. And Gabe stepped away. So, oh no, here he's back.
He's
Gabe's thoughtful wife bought him that copy.
Yeah.
Just in the comment section.
Wow, that sounds like something she would say.
Just saying.
She did. She came home with it the other day.
Good. I'm glad.
And
Thank
it's
you,
to
Deborah.
fly as hell.
I love it. It's such a great package. Really good package. Yeah.
Great
Yeah,
idea,
it's really
sir.
good.
All right, Tom,
All
bring
right.
us home.
I have one of the best cookbooks of the fall out. I think it was out early. I think it was out last week.
Okay.
Shabbat by Adina Sussman. She did a book for us called Sababa a couple of years ago, 2019, which was selected as one of the best cookbooks of the year. Oh, sorry, here go my dogs.
Sorry.
She is she's the real deal. So I've been talking a lot about lately about we have a lot of cookbooks by TikTok influencers, which are all the rage. But she is the real deal. She is a chef extraordinaire. She lives in Israel. She does all of this, all the photographs. It's a gorgeous book. All the photographs are her. She's got her own photographer. It's really it's for $35. It's an unbelievable value. There's another great picture, great recipe.
And like Deborah, the Gabe's
Oh,
got
there
that
we
one
go.
too.
Yes, that's right. Deborah's a fan.
She's already cooked.
And so I just want to, I met her in the summer. She came through, and she knows everybody in the food world. So this is going to get incredible reviews, all the right places. It's great. And as I say, $35 is an unbelievable price for the value of this book. That you're not going to see that again.
Yep.
After this fall. She's also, I think, Wade, you sell the Chrissy Teigen book. She is the person who works with Chrissy Teigen on the recipes for that book. She's super close to Chrissy
Okay.
Teigen and John Legend. Anyway, highly recommend this really jam-packed, beautiful.
Well, so while we're talking about Gabe's wife, Deborah, who is an author as well, but who is an amazing cook, she's on here in all caps. This is an amazing cookbook. So
Oh, that's all you need to hear.
all you need to
Thank
hear
Deborah.
that. So Deborah is going to come on every week and talk about your books.
We had this last night, actually.
Oh,
We
did
had
you?
this
Oh,
last
yeah.
night. It was good.
I
Wow.
love it.
Roasted 4 hours roasting tomatoes.
Yeah, no higher endorsement can come, as Amanda's saying, for a
Exactly.
cookbook than Deborah. So that's a little something for y'all. Okay, we got this done under an hour, folks. I'm just saying, slam dunk on that.
Bring on Andrea. Bring on Andrea, and we'll still do it in
and
an
we'll
hour.
still do it under an hour when you got some great books discussions. This was really fun. Your lists are going to be overflowing. I appreciate you all so much for coming on, our wonderful reps here. I know that you all are super busy and it's the fall, but our customers love hearing from you and about the book. So thanks for taking the time to come on today. So with that, everybody get your carts ready and order some good books. So we'll see everybody next week and have a good time reading. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.